By now, if you've been watching the different series Think Different or the Quick Tips, you already know we're addressing the workforce energy management issue. It started with burnout prevention, and as I got out to clients, I was realizing that this employee engagement conversation, that this turnover conversation, retention, and burnout was all in similar categories. Four factors feeding the energy towards burnout or towards energy. And one of the factors in the workforce energy model is workflow. This is productivity optimization, where we're going to be focusing efforts, initiatives, and tasks towards optimizing what we're already doing for more effectiveness. We're going to be focusing on gaining efficiencies through process flow, through systems, how handoffs are going. Can we make those more successful? Where waste is and reducing it, time management. And that's going to add more value to your organization. So far, the approach has been, let's add more. Let's add more people. Let's add more tasks. Let's add more, and it's feeding the burnout in the workforce. And that's why half of the population in the US is now in burnout. So we're going to reframe how we're approaching workflow. Instead of adding more, we're going to focus on productivity optimization. One great tool you can use just to understand ourselves and where we're wasting our own time within our day, our own time within our team, is through DISC behavioral science. Looking at the time wasters based on work styles will give you some data points in where you can move forward, where you can start your action plan back to productivity without all these energy drainers. And what I love about this is it helps us as individuals even figure out what is our time wasters. Sometimes we just spin our wheels and we're trying all the different things because it works for someone else and it's not working for us. And that can just be so energy draining. So when you really hone down into work styles and where the time wasters are, you can start to get rid of that waste and move back to productivity without adding more. Love that. When we go through training in DISC with certain teams, I like to incorporate their operations, the type of industry they're in. Are they more in response mode because they're in customer service, or do they have more control of their day? All these factors go into play. So as we go through the time wasters per work style, I'll incorporate that into the training so we can actually use practical tools to get back to energy and gain back time. So let's just take a few of them. And like I said, in the actual trainings that I do with organizations, we hone down practical action plans for each work style. So with D's, that's our dominants, or our reds as I like to call them. They like to make snap decisions and ping and pong firefighting what may come up, and that's exciting to them. That's kind of like gaining results at a very fast pace. That can lead to time wasting because they might need more information and research to make a decision, or in that firefighting, they might be over responsible, taking over someone else's responsibilities. Again, playing in different sandboxes in which they aren't their sandboxes. So that can also be a time waster. Poor delegation. So D's like to get things done. They like to get things done fast. If it's taking longer than they personally would like, they may take over and do it themselves. Or as a leader, as a D, they may do it themselves because that lack of trust that someone will get it done in time is beating at them at any point in time. So they may take control when maybe they could entrust their team and delegate it out. Lack of a plan, just like the firefighting and snap decisions, could cause a lot of time waste without all the information needed to get it done. And then they may be more reactive than proactive because they're firefighters. Now I'm a high I, so procrastination is key, and using action plans and practical tools to fight that procrastination. It's not that they intend not to get it done, it's just that other things distract them, and shiny object syndrome is definitely prevalent in the high I's. They may over-socialize or get into storytelling and discussions too far when really we just need to stay on task, stay on an agenda at this point in time. Poor organization, which is a symptom of procrastination type behaviors, and then people pleasing. So their hands will be in other departments and other projects that they shouldn't be because they're trying to actually help people. They're trying to make sure that they're successful. And in the end run, they might not even be getting their job done. And then we talked about the shiny object syndrome. S is our supportives, and there are greens. They enjoy steadiness. They enjoy routines and habits, so it's very difficult for them to change. So that can be a time waster when the organization has decided to go this direction, when the department has decided to take this step and they're lagging behind. And it's not that they don't understand, it's not that they aren't on board, it's just that their change curve is much longer, and understanding that behavior will help you start prepping them so they can get a head start on that journey. They will be avoiding conflict, which can be a time waster because now they'll be stirring in their day, in their head, creating this conflict monster and whole narrative and story outside of reality that never happened. And so we want good feedback loops, high trust within teams to support S's to be able to have those genuine conversations and not languish within stories in their own head, creating scenarios of conflict that may have never even happened. And then again, they'll postpone unpleasant discussions. They might not even speak up their voice when they know something's wrong or a gap needs to be filled because they want to avoid that conflict. Again, wasting time for the whole organization or department. And then C's are our compliance or our blues. And they want to seek all the facts. It's not that they're delaying the process or trying to be rude in asking more questions. They just need more detail to move forward. They need to have lower risk to feel confident in the decision in which the group is moving forward with. And they fear mistakes, so satisfying that will actually get them to move forward and commit. They may be perfectionist type of behaviors, which means they'll redo it over and over again, make it look all pretty, make a whole bunch of procedures and best practices when maybe we don't need them for those certain activities. And so we want to make sure that expectation and feedback loops are tight for S's so that they understand the expectations and where we're moving forward. And then they may spend extra time being overly organized. And again, that can be beneficial to the rest of the organization, or it can be a time waster if they're overdoing it. So we want to make sure that, again, they have tight parameters and expectations set so that they know this is the allotted time I have for organization in the morning, or this is all I need to focus on today, so that's all I need to organize. I don't need to organize my whole month right now. And then we move forward. I found this really helpful as a high I, someone who moved really fast and was people oriented. I thought I was always doing the right thing. I thought that I was providing value to the organization. And then when things weren't getting done, or people didn't understand that I wanted to keep moving, I was wondering why this was so hard, why these relations and collaborations were difficult and that conflict was coming in. And it really showed me in this report through data and not so much personal that I was wasting time in certain aspects that I could control. So in the DISC package, we go through this a little bit more in detail with your workforce during the training to make sure not only that they understand what is in their assessment, but how to combat getting back to energy, how to combat these time wasters to get back to productivity and that optimization so we don't have to add more. We're being more effective. We're being more effective in addressing our time wasters, being more effective in supporting our team members and holding them accountable in their time wasters, or being very delicate on how we call those out, or being supportive on their journey. So say I have a high CR blues, our perfectionists, our detailed data analytic people in our team meeting, and they keep digging and they're presenting all this information, but now it's diverged away from the goal. I know that they're a high C, a high blue, so I can call that out as a tool and say, hey, our high blues, is this information good enough, or have we went down a rabbit hole? Usually you get a laugh, there's a little bit of humor in it, and then we get back on track. It's very impersonal versus, hey, you're digging a little too far. We need to stop. We need to get back on track. That puts people in the defense. It gets really personal. So using this as a tool and train your workforce on how to address questions and collaboration to support one another on their time wasters is a huge move in the workforce energy management towards team synergy and team trust and that communication on this journey. In order to start meeting the modern day workforce where they're at is addressing these soft skills in a way that is less defensive and less personal. Even though we're talking about them, it's bringing awareness and understanding to human behavior about themselves and about others. And let me tell you, just meeting the new generation coming into the workforce, meeting people in the workforce that are going through burnout and not even understanding who they are and their work style and what internally motivates them, this tool is going to be a huge catalyst in investing in your workforce and getting them back to energy, moving them from this exhaustion back to excellence. But in order to do that, we need to think different.